that had some kind of a rudder problem, and that needed to go back to shore. So what they did was they all met up in this one area. Oh, and the Bob Barker needed some lube oil, so they all meet up and they're all on the shore and they're all partying. Yeah, they're partying. Anyway, as they're partying, they need room on the deck to do whatever, bring supplies on, blah, blah. They move these rigid inflatable boats, which they keep on deck normally, and these rigid inflatable boats basically have, these engines on the back. It's an inflatable boat. They put them off to the side when they try and go and harass the Japanese whalers, because these boats are a lot more maneuverable, a lot quicker than a larger ship would be. Well, they put these rigid inflatable boats off to the side of the Steve Irwin and the Bob Barker, okay, to make room to do whatever they're doing. Now, during the course of the evening, a storm blows in. I'm not talking a little rainy rain. I'm talking a storm. One of those things, okay? It blows in, and common sense would tell you, hey, maybe we should bring the rigid inflatables up so they don't float away. They still had it tied to the ship with one rope, mind you. Two rigid inflatables, one rope, disaster. Anyway, one of the rigid inflatables breaks loose and goes adrift. Okay, it's late at night at the time. They can't really see what's going on. They have to wait till daylight to go and try and get this thing. Okay, so leads me up to what I was saying about this school teacher who is actually one of the main drivers for these really rigid inflatables. So the next morning they get their one rigid inflatable that is working, okay, and they go out and they try and find this other, small rigid inflatable that went adrift because they were too foolish to add another rope. But okay, luckily it had GPS, so it was fairly easy for them to find. They go and they drive up and they see it, and it's onshore and it's on some rocks. Okay, so they get out there and the school teacher jumps in there into the rigid inflatable that's stuck on the rocks with a propeller that's stuck on, not stuck on the rocks, but you'll get the point. And he starts this thing up. Now mind you, there's rocks. I'm talking, forget rocks, they're boulders, okay, all around here. There's him and there's another guy with him. The other guy tells him, is yelling at him, hey, don't start it. I wouldn't do that if I were you. You're gonna break the propeller. What does he do? Guns it. He next thing you know, he's putting this propeller down into the rock and you can hear it. You figure when you hear, you would pull the damn thing back up, but no. What does he do? Gun it a little more. Give it a little more gas, eh, mate? Anyway, he's blasting this thing. All you see is this huge wave of water come up and hit the second guy who was back there telling him not to do it. And wham, it just stops. Why? Because there's no propeller anymore. This is great. Top-notch TV. Really good. So, the thing that really got me though was that, and the other thing too is, what if that propeller had spun out, hit the guy that was behind him right in the head, down, but thank God it didn't, right? So they go ahead and they tow this boat back to shore. Well, not to shore, but to the other, the mother boat. And they get there and they raise it up, and all the deck crews out there and all the crews looking through the windows hoping that this thing's is still in great shape and it'll be working. They pull it up and the propeller's gone. Okay, now this school teacher comes and he goes into, because he's basically the guy who screwed this up. If they would have just tied a rope to the thing and pulled it out, there wouldn't have been a problem, but he screwed this up. Anyway, he goes up into the deck house and they're all like, wow, what happened? And he's like, and the name of the rigid inflatable was the Farley, I think. And he's like, the Farley's it's done for a while. Doesn't explain what happened, doesn't take responsibility, doesn't say what he did, and he leaves. He walks out. A couple minutes later, the cameraman's having an interview with him, and he's standing there and he's all bundled up in tears. you know, you know, I'm a teacher in real life, and in real life, like, this is playtime. And you know, before I left, I told my kids that I would, you know, do everything I could to make sure that whales would be cherished and not hunted. Okay? Maybe you should teach your kids how to take responsibility for their actions. You think? Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I'll probably make another one soon. I just wanted to let you know about this Whale Wars series. If you're into watching people really make idiots of themselves, please go check this out. I watch it just because I think, you know, what kind of bonehead move are they gonna make next? Anyway, peace out. I'll be back with another video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one.